Over the center sector, a Ka-52M attack helicopter swept in like a flying executioner, unleashing precise fire that shredded an armed forces of Ukraine's stronghold and the troops inside it, collapsing the position in seconds and leaving the area cleared of resistance. In the Krasnopol-guided direction, a Malka self-propelled gun of the center group unleashed a devastating strike on an armed forces of Ukraine's stronghold. The fortified position was torn apart in a single barrage, collapsing defenses and wiping the site off the map in seconds. The campaign against Ukraine's energy network rolled on as strike drones descended on the Slavyansk thermal power plant in Donbass. A precise UAV hit tore into the facility, pushing another critical power hub offline and tightening the pressure on the country's infrastructure. Near Zaliznikne in the Zaporizhzhia region, Grad rocket fire turned a quiet staging area into a storm of explosions, slamming into a temporary deployment point of the armed forces of Ukraine just as units were being assembled for the front line. What had been a reserve buildup zone was ripped apart in minutes, disrupting reinforcements and throwing enemy operations in the sector into chaos. In a rare piece of objective control footage from the Kharkov region, Geran strike drones turned a quiet helipad into a sudden kill zone, slamming into two armed forces of Ukraine helicopters before they could even lift off. A Mi-24 attack helicopter and a Mi-8 transport aircraft were engulfed in explosions, erased on the ground in a matter of seconds. In Zaporizhzhia, the war reached straight into Ukraine's energy lifeline as Geran strike drones descended on the massive Donbass electrical substation. Objective control footage captured the moment high-voltage transformers and control systems were hit, plunging a critical power hub into fire and destruction within seconds. Throughout the night, waves of Geran strike drones swept across multiple fronts, hitting targets in the Dnipropetrovsk region, Donbass, and the Zaporizhzhia and Kharkov sectors. Later, near Shikovka in the Kharkov region, reconnaissance spotted an enemy UAV control post dug into a fortified position, and within moments, artillery crews answered with a Krasnopol precision round that curved onto the target and obliterated the site in a single surgical strike. Along the Kharkov axis, Molnya, two fixed-wing drones of the 44th Army Corps swept deep into enemy lines, hunting the hidden nerve centers of the armed forces of Ukraine. One by one, UAV control posts were smashed and sniper teams were wiped out, leaving the sector blind, exposed, and stripped of its most precise firepower. In Konstantinovka, drone crews of the Svarog Swarm kept tightening the noose, methodically clearing enemy forces from the area with relentless aerial strikes. Precision hits tore apart a mined bridge, military vehicles, and ground unmanned logistics platforms, cutting movement, supply, and resistance in one coordinated wave of destruction. Near Zaliznikne in the Zaporizhzhia region, artillery fire tore straight through the tree lines where armed forces of Ukraine units had tried to hide. Explosions ripped open the wooded cover, turning concealed positions into exposed killing zones. In the Donetsk direction near Ilyinovka, two A-65 Msta-B howitzers of the Yug Group delivered crushing blows across the enemy rear. Ammunition depots vanished in fireballs, temporary camps were flattened, and UAV control posts were smashed, stripping Ukrainian units of both supplies and coordination. On the battlefield, the so-called underglow flared up for real as a Russian aerial strike locked onto an enemy ground robotic platform and delivered a pinpoint drop from above. The machine was instantly engulfed in flames, turning advanced hardware into a burning wreck within seconds. Along the Krasnopol-guided direction, strike drones and artillery of the 177th Guards Marine Brigade from the center group worked in lethal coordination, hammering a temporary deployment point of the armed forces of Ukraine. Real-time footage captured personnel and equipment being torn apart, while relay antennas were smashed, crippling a local command post and throwing enemy control in the sector into disarray. Across multiple sectors, Rubicon Center FPV teams turned the battlefield into a hunting ground, smashing enemy hardware, ground robots, electronic warfare systems, communications nodes, UAV control posts, and troop staging areas, while even ramming hostile drones out of the sky, systematically stripping the armed forces of Ukraine of both eyes, nerves, and firepower in rapid, relentless strikes. Farther south in Dnipropetrovsk, a mobile UAV control post was tracked and struck before it could relocate. The Vostok Group's drones slammed into the site, blinding Ukrainian operators in a single hit. Along the Krasnopol-guided direction, Center Group drone crews hunted exposed clusters of Ukrainian manpower and equipment. Precision strikes tore through vehicles and personnel, collapsing the local defensive line. Near Kharkov in Zaporizhzhia, Dnieper Group UAVs swept over enemy positions like a storm of fire. Manpower, hardware, and key objects were erased one after another under relentless drone attacks. Outside Primorskoye, Novorossiysk paratrooper drone teams zeroed in on an infantry unit trying to hold ground. Within moments, the section was wiped out, leaving the area completely cleared of resistance. Across the Special Military Operations Zone, FPV strike drones of the Rubicon Advanced Unmanned Technology Center turned modern warfare into a precision hunt, locking onto armed forces of Ukraine personnel and wiping out targets across multiple fronts. The footage reveals how these rapid surgical strikes are reshaping the battlefield, steadily amplifying Russian operational dominance through relentless drone pressure. In the Kharkov region, FPV drones of the Sever grouping turned enemy shelters into collapsing fire traps, ripping through positions where Ukrainian troops had taken cover. Constant aerial surveillance tracked every movement, even fighters attempting to hide in civilian structures, before multiple strike drones, including fiber optic guided models, slammed in with relentless precision and wiped the sites out completely. Under the cover of darkness, Russian drone crews launched a relentless hunt for the armed forces of Ukraine robotic supply carriers trying to push provisions toward the front line. After breaking through enemy electronic warfare interference, strike UAVs smashed into the vehicles one after another, and by the end of the night, the automated logistics network had been systematically burned out and erased from the battlefield. The footage closes with a sweeping wave of destruction as Rubicon Center FPV drones tear through vehicles and armored hardware, including American Humvees, while smashing communications nodes, electronic warfare systems, bunkers, and temporary deployment sites of the armed forces of Ukraine. The sequence even shows dramatic mid-air ramming attacks against heavy Baba Yaga drones, highlighting how Russian operators are dismantling both enemy ground assets and aerial threats in one relentless campaign. In the sector held by the North Grouping, drone operators turned the battlefield into a precision kill zone, systematically hunting down and destroying armed forces of Ukraine, firing positions as one strike after another tore through defensive points and silenced enemy guns. Over the Vostok sector, air cover units detected a sudden surge of hostile drone activity and moved instantly to intercept before any strike could unfold. Recon teams tracked heavy Baba Yaga attack hexacopters approaching Russian positions, and within moments, aerial combat broke out, ending with the enemy drones being destroyed in mid-air and the strongholds left untouched. That's all for today's update. Thanks for watching, and don't miss our upcoming videos.